It doesn't matter if it's the first or the fifth injury, like if you put in the hard work, you can get to where you want to get.
It's not only a physical battle, but it is a mental battle.
I know that I've worked really, really hard on my rehab, and I feel like my coming back story is going to be really good and I'm going to be better than ever.
My name's Oceane and I am 27 years old.
Hi, I'm Chloe and I'm 20 years old.
My name is Maddie, I'm 15.
I ruptured my ACL about 6 months ago at the end of last year. That was actually my second time. I ruptured my first ACL when I was about 21 years old, and I've done one of each. So my first one was my right and the second one that I've done just recently is my left.
I blew out my knee when I was 18 and I fractured my femur. I did my ACL and my MCL. I came out of the shooting circle for a high ball, came down and crumpled on the floor.
I ruptured my ACL when I was 14. I ruptured it when I was playing rugby, and basically what happened, so my team was on defence and this girl was running on the wing and she got a breakaway. And I went to tackle her and she dodged me and I dodged her back and my knee basically just folded in and I just went on the ground and I was just screaming basically in pain.
I landed on two legs, but my leg gave way and I knew straight away that it was my ACL. For my first injury on my right knee, I ruptured my ACL and I had a little tear of my meniscus. But my most recent one, I tore my ACL, I strained my MCL, my hamstring, and I completely destroyed my meniscus. The inside was real shredded, and the outside I completely tore it in half and it wasn't even attached.
In the operation, I've got 5 scars on my leg. It's all at the front. It was a keyhole surgery and they basically cut up here and they got hamstrings from back out here and then put them in the ACL or something like that. So they had to take 2 hamstrings instead of 1, which ended up slowing me down in recovery because I was a lot weaker than had planned to be.
So I had to have 2 surgeries, one a week after my initial injury. In my first surgery, I had to get my MCL, my medials, fixed and my fractured femur, and I was filled in with multiple plates and bolts and screws into my knee to fix that femur. And the MCL was completely snapped, so they had to reattach that to the bone as well. So my surgery was supposed to be 45 minutes long and it ended up being 5 hours. In my second surgery, they had to take my patella tendon and use that to act as my ACL tendon, which is now much stronger.
So I had surgery and I had an ACL reconstruction and they stitched my meniscus back together. Because they had to do that, I was non-weight bearing for 7 weeks, which means that I wasn't able to put any weight on my leg at all. I had to have 2 crutches. It was really hard because you can't do anything for yourself. You can't even get yourself food, or showering yourself is really hard because you've got to balance on one leg.
I was on a lot of medications as well, so I was just constantly sleeping and sleeping. I didn't go to school for 5 weeks, so that was really bad because when I came back to school, I was really, really behind.
So that was really difficult to not be able to do anything for 8 weeks, having everyone look after you, not being able to stay in your own room.
The rehab was a lot of commitment. It became like a big job. Like I was set with exercises every day. The exercises physios kind of had me doing were just things like squat, single leg squat, lunges, a lot of glute bridges. It's like things with like kettlebells, like just all kind of stuff to strengthen my quads really. Especially leading up to the surgery, there was a lot to do with strengthening my quads because they had to be strong enough for it. And then that was more at the start of the injury, and then now when I'm getting further, like closer to being fully recovered, I'm now going to the gym 4 out of 5 weekdays. So it can be, really hard because I'm going to the gym by myself, like I'm not going with a physio, so it can be really hard when I fatigue not to keep trying hard.
So I had to go to physio twice a week, maybe once a week for 15 months. Firstly to rehab my femur and get range of motion back and fix the MCL to get that strong. Then I had to prehab again for the ACL surgery, and then rehab after the ACL surgery. That included straight line running, and then I was able to do turning and running, and then I had non-contact training, and then I had to hit all my milestones to then hit contact training for another month, and then I was able to take the court.
At the start, it was just like disbelief and not knowing what was going to happen next, because I had all these plans and suddenly it was just, gone, really. It was hard, I was adamant that I would be back. There was no doubt in my mind whether I would be back playing or not. It was just when.
And then once hearing that I had done my ACL, my MCL, and ultimately my femur, it was very negative thoughts. I was very concerned that I'd be out of netball for so long.
An injury this young can be really hard to get through because not many people your age really understand what's going on. Like, they just think it's an injury and like they don't really get how you're actually feeling. I remember at the start of my injury, like talking to my stepmom, telling her that like without sport I didn't know who I was going to be. Like, sport was such a big thing in my life. My life just felt kind of like empty. But then having the injuries kind of helped me like realise like all the other good things in my life. Like, it's helped me get closer with my friends, it's helped me get closer with my family, it's helped me do better in school. I've had more time to focus on everything else. So it's kind of like, it's a bad injury, but it's also helped me realise all the like what I am without sport. Like, I'm not nothing without sport, which is what I thought beforehand, but now I know.
But also that you have to have a person or people that you can turn to, and when it does get hard, because it does, it's a hard thing to go through, and it's not only a physical battle but it is a mental battle, and you need to have those few people that you can go to and ask for help, because there is good times but there's also very lows.
That it's okay to feel upset, or especially in those first days or weeks, however long you need to come to terms with it, that it's okay to feel those things, but once you've had that time, then do what you need to do. And also as well, I think when you're not playing and you're not on court, it doesn't mean that you can't learn and you can't grow. You can still make sure that you're good physically, mentally, that you're watching the game and from a different perspective. I think sometimes when you're playing, you get so caught up in how you're performing.
Looking back, I know that I've worked really, really hard in my rehab. I feel like I've missed out on so much, so I'm just really, really glad to be back in 3 months, and I feel like my coming back story is going to be really good and I'm going to be better than ever.
In my first game, I remember being really nervous because it was obviously my first game back, but also it was a trial, and I was really, really stressed that I was having to shoot and be contacted. But I think that once I got into the swing of playing, even though it had been so long, it was actually just nice to be out on the court again. Now that I am back playing, I do feel so much more confident as a player and on the court, and even as a person. So I've had a wee while to get back into the swing of things, and it did take me a while to get back into how I was feeling before doing my injury.
It doesn't matter if it's the first or the fifth injury, like if you put in the hard work, you can get to where you want to get.